Hello, I'm Courtney Holland. Welcome to the latest episode of Save Our Towns, a series designed to guide and inspire those who are working hard in Appalachia to build strong communities. This episode takes you to Princeton, West Virginia, where there's a whole lot of shaking going on. We also check in with Cleveland, Virginia, which we're following for a year. The 2016 election turned Town Hall upside down. Speaking of topsy-turvy, your expert tip comes from someone who asks you to think differently about the statement, "We need jobs." Are you addicted to Maxwell's number yet? If not, it's not because he isn't trying. Sorry about the triple negative. No apologies needed for our final segment, 3 questions for a mayor. First, here's executive producer Andrea Brunet with your example of awesome story from Princeton, where city leaders embraced the arts community, a community that other towns sometimes reject.
Princeton, West Virginia owed its 20th century prosperity to the Virginian Railway, called the richest little railroad in the world. The line carried coal, mined throughout southern West Virginia, to the port of Norfolk. But by the 1950s, big job losses had begun, and Princeton went downhill like other once impressive downtowns. Despite examples of period architecture, Princeton gave off the same air as many suffering towns in coal country.
When we arrived in 2006, downtown Princeton had been overtaken by a negative element. It had become known for drugs and prostitution. And I knew that I wanted to help my hometown become more healthy and vibrant, and of course at the same time create a space that I could make a living as an artist, and the rest of the artistic community could as well.
Today, businesses on Mercer Street are opening right and left. Downtown shows less decay and explodes with color. Its revival grew from an unlikely source, young artists. Lori McKinney, a Princeton native who traveled in Europe during her college years, came home and fell in love with Appalachia all over again. Starting in 2003, she founded an arts collective that opened galleries, organized a culture fest, cooked up community events, and put on open mic nights and concerts. Unlike other towns that have blocked artists' wilder ideas, the city tolerated them.
The city of Princeton was very smart to embrace us, and we never felt blocked like some artists do in other towns. Typically, leaders that we see in other towns are open to the old energy and what it used to be, and they love to see historic realism like coal tipples and trains, which are wonderful murals, but our city was open to us expressing our new ideas and ways of going about things, and that was the smart move that the city of Princeton made.
A community improvement group was formed, and in 2012, McKinney and a colleague founded the Princeton Renaissance Project. This gave the artists a platform to formally interact with city leaders and the business community. In summer 2013, the Renaissance Project declared its first major goal, to renovate the historic theater. With $100,000 invested in the job, it's almost finished and is a point of pride. And late last year, the Princeton Renaissance Project won a $10,000 national grant. Soon, 4 businesses will be chosen to receive money to pay their rent in one of downtown's vacant buildings. After theater restoration was kicked off, the city underwrote the major cost of a sweeping mural painting effort that transformed the look of downtown. When Mike Webb was hired as assistant city manager in May, he championed the city's continued support.
I believe the city council and the city of Princeton, they saw what it could bring. They saw the attitude that it could bring, the liveliness that it brings to the street. It brings the color to the street, it brings activity to the street, and that brings business to the streets. The arts is an avenue for not only children, for adults, for the artists themselves.
Vibrant communities attract vibrant people. We've definitely seen that to be true over the years. Creative people have moved here to be a part of this transformation. Businesses have opened. We've probably seen a dozen businesses open doors on Mercer Street since we started our work, and we know that this is just the beginning.
You have activity downtown. You have economic development coming around in the downtown area of Princeton, West Virginia, which really had a downturn over the past decade, and now people are walking there. Traffic is up over 30% since 2012, up from 8,000 to well over 10,000 daily just on Mercer Street, which is a big change.
Funded by a grant, McKinney and others took the Princeton story around West Virginia last year to show other towns how to jumpstart an economic revival. The most vital lesson is that towns not fear what their artists have to offer, no matter how unorthodox, but find ways to embrace what those creatives are trying to accomplish.
Now for your Cleveland update, and what an update. The new mayor is Jennifer Chumbley, and the majority of the town council turned over as well. Chumbley says she'll keep the $2 million in grant work going, money that came in under the previous mayor in this town of 178 people. Here, in 30 seconds, Chumbley lays out the town's major problem and her vision.
Currently, there's no jobs. There's not a lot of jobs, I guess you could say. We've got to keep our future generations interested, and we need to appeal to the younger generation so that we can have businesses here that would thrive and do well and have more people move in. There's not a lot to do in the winter, unfortunately, but we hope to change that with tourism that we bring in and businesses that we're going to bring in. I can see Cleveland as a little town you can walk through and shop at the different shops and stop at different businesses, and that's what I'm looking forward to.
Your next segment needs no introduction. Maxwell's number.
When you think of a farmer, admit it, you're likely to have a mental picture of a man. But did you know there are 38 women-run farms within the town and county of Bland, Virginia? And the percentage of women-run farms in Allegheny County is even higher, at 20%. So why did we choose Bland and the number 38? Well, we just had to pick one. Farms in Appalachian, Virginia that are run by women total almost 1,700 and account for nearly $30 million of the agricultural market share in the state. We don't have to tell you how important farming is to the Virginia economy. Moreover, Virginia has a $3 billion market in agricultural exports. Topping the list of destinations are China with $694 million, followed by Canada with $291 million, and Switzerland at $204 million in annual exports. Now that's quite a cash crop.
Your expert tip comes from Anthony Flacavento, who has worked for more than 2 decades to help build economically resilient towns in Appalachia.
I like to say that we need to stop chasing jobs kind of indiscriminately and start thinking about what is the work that needs to be done. In some parts of our region, it's the work of rehabbing old housing stock or fixing up old buildings that can become new tenants. In some places, it's rehabilitating abandoned mine land or restoring forest land. If the economic developers don't think just about we need jobs, which almost all communities do, but what's the work that we need to do in our communities? And then once we've identified those needs, how do we translate that into jobs, into businesses, and into economic opportunity?
You can read a transcript of the complete interview at the Save Our Towns website, where Flacavento shares insights about building wealth, community capital, and a diverse economy. Click on the Connect with Experts tab. Next, remember the topic of Maxwell's number? We're back to farming with the work of an extension specialist and associate professor. Kim Nwalny teaches in the College of Agriculture and Life Sciences and heads up the Virginia Beginning Farmer and Rancher Coalition program, which helps farmers survive the critical startup period. Virginia is a big producer of livestock as well as greenhouse products, soybeans, vegetables, and fruits. That rich history doesn't guarantee a budding farmer's success, however, so the program takes a holistic approach, offering training in marketing, land access, sustainable practices, business planning, and social networking. Online resources are available as well. For more information, go to the Save Our Towns website. You'll find Nwalny under the Extension tab. Now we return to Princeton to ask 3 questions of the mayor.
Tim Ely, Mayor, Princeton, West Virginia. Exciting. Biggest challenge is being a border state. I mean, a border county with Virginia, and tax structure in West Virginia is a little different than Virginia. And so businesses get a little more break in Virginia, and we're trying to combat that in the city itself. It's friendly people. We don't have a high crime rate. We have a tired but beautiful downtown. The Arts District has painted murals all downtown, and they're bright and they're colorful and they're interesting, and they continue to do it. And we've got several other tired buildings, and what better way to make the tired buildings look a lot better than put paint and something interesting on them.
For more resources and contact information for the experts we interview, go to the Save Our Towns website. Send your thoughts about this episode to saveourtowns@vt.edu. This is episode 7 of season 3. Be sure to join us next time. Thanks for watching.